Hello YouTube, CivilianSnowman here. I've got another movie review for you, and today I'm reviewing Martyrs, which is a French horror film, and it's very much part of the French new wave of horror. It's directed by a fellow called Pascal Laugier, I think is how you pronounce his name. I've probably just butchered it, but I had a go. And it's a film that I watched yesterday with my friend Alan, and it kind of impacted both of us, so I thought it would be quite a relevant review. The story centres around a girl called Lucy who at the age of 10 escaped from an industrial zone in France where she'd been the victim of prolonged torture. And then we see her in an orphanage / mental institution sort of thing, and she meets a girl called Anna who they become really close friends, and it is implied later on that they could be lesbian lovers. But skip forward 15 years and Lucy turns up at the door of a seemingly picturesque family with a shotgun wanting revenge. To go any further into the plot would be to completely undo what the director has essentially accomplished, in that it's a very mysterious film and the plot twists kind of come thick and fast, and just when you think you're getting a handle on the events that are occurring, it veers off in a different direction, and you have to really admire it for that, because you can't get a grasp on where the story is going, and it's quite refreshing in a horror movie, because obviously the horror genre has become a parody of itself, essentially, in Western culture at least. So, like I said, it's really refreshing to see one that isn't afraid to go where others are. What separates this film from your average horror film, and I mean, when I say horror, it really is torture porn, and I'm thinking of things like Hostel, which, although they are watchable and the sort of films you can enjoy when you're with a group of friends and you've got beers and pizza, you can just crack open Hostel and enjoy it as like entertainment. But this film really wants to turn that on its head, and it is torture porn that actually has a story to it, and a story that, depending on your taste, might not quite do it for you, because it is quite out of left field. Like, it's something you wouldn't see coming. The whole point of the film is the final revelation, rather, is completely out of the blue. So if you're not really willing to give it the benefit of the doubt, you probably won't enjoy it. But if you go in with an open mind, it is actually quite a rewarding film, in that you'll feel like you're watching a horror movie unlike any you've actually seen before. The director is clearly trying to make the point that torture porn as a genre, a subgenre in itself, is rather shit, and he's obviously added a story to kind of comment on how we find this sort of gore and watching people suffer entertaining. And I mean, on the making of documentary, he makes a crack about reality TV being the real horror and stuff like that. So it is a comment on the state of the horror genre as it is today. Now, this film has received a lot of hype. I bought it because it was cheap, but I'd also read in a lot of magazines that I buy, such as Total Film and DVD and Blu-ray Review, they gave it rave reviews. They've said that it is the best horror film in a long time, and it's made horror into art and stuff like this. So those are two magazines whose opinions I always tend to agree with. So I thought that, it sounds pretty good. I bought it when I saw it in Asda while I was doing the weekly shop. Now, what I can say is that this film is probably a little overhyped. Now, while it does things that I haven't seen in a horror movie before, I wouldn't say that it is so completely revolutionary that it warrants everyone to go out and see it. I think fans of horror will enjoy it, or fans of film in general who have an open mind and want to experience something unlike anything they have really in film before, that they'll enjoy it. Watching this film, it's immediately apparent why the director has been offered to remake Hellraiser, which I'm really looking forward to, because I'm a big fan of the first Hellraiser movie. So the idea of someone who wants to make the horror genre credible again, remaking essentially an iconic horror movie, is really appealing to me. I'm going to give Martyrs 3 stars out of 5. It would have been a 2-star film, but with the director's ambition and the fact he wants to make a comment on the horror genre and he wants to add credibility to the horror genre, I really admire that. So instead of being a 2-star film, it is, in fact, I'm going to give it 3 stars just because of its ambition. I recommend it to anyone who's a fan of horror, or anyone who, like I said, has an open mind towards film. I think there's something that you could get from this. Whether you'll enjoy watching it remains to be seen, because although the points it makes are good, the journey it takes you on is more of an endurance test. So because some of the films are so graphically violent that you might just, you know, it might make you feel uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie to you, there was a scene in the last 20 minutes that made me actually feel physically uncomfortable. So if you can sit through it, it is quite a harrowing experience. You feel like you've endured a lot of this torture as well. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and rate this video, leave comments, anything you want to do. So, thanks for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this review. And this is CivilianSnowman signing out. I'll see you later. Bye.